School districts are now convened in the regular board meeting on Monday, October the 12th, 2020, in the boardroom of Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District Instructional Support Center, located at 10,300 Jones Road, Houston, Texas, at 6 p.m. I want to welcome the members of our audience and our television viewers to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As the Cypress-Fairbanks Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by sections 551.071 and 551.084 of the Texas Government Code. These proceedings are airing live on Comcast Channel 16 and the district website. They will also be available as video on demand on the district website following tonight's meeting. For the video to adequately reflect the proceedings, I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking, and that cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Take a moment to do that, as I am right now. Thank you for taking time to join us this evening and for your interest in the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District. I would also like to take this opportunity to recognize our Community Leadership Committee members who are in attendance this evening. Stacy Anderson. Stacy, would you stand? Thank you. Ryan Irving, would you stand? Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate both of y'all. We don't have any Boy Scouts tonight. The Leadership Committee is a group that meets every month, and they do a wonderful job of learning more about our district. The invocation and pledge of allegiance. The invocation for tonight's board meeting will be given by Joel Mosier, lead pastor of Grace Life Baptist Church. Grace Life adopted Goodson Middle School, where they do an awesome job of supporting staff and students. Joel has 5 children ranging from elementary age to college age. All of Joel's children attended or have attended CFISD schools. Joel personally volunteers as a mentor as well as a watchdog in the schools his children attend. We appreciate your ongoing commitment to our district. Thank you, Joel, for being here tonight. Before the invocation, I would like to introduce the AFJ ROTC cadets who will be presenting the colors this evening. Our cadets are from Langham Creek High School, and they are Cadet Alexa Zavala on U.S. Rifle, Cadet Patrick Brennan carrying the American flag, Cadet Thomas Zellner on the Texas Rifle, and Cadet Nicholas Sines on the Texas flag. Our cadets this evening are under the direction of Lieutenant Colonel Paul K. Marks, United States Air Force retired and senior aerospace science instructor. Right now we will start with the invocation, and after that we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, sir. Please stand.
Well, Father, we want to thank you that here we sit or stand on October 12th, have gone through so many meetings and decisions and preparations for the various school buildings all across our school district. Lord, I want to thank you personally for how you have given safety to each and every school, whether it be the thousands of miles that have been driven in buses, whether it's the daily sanitation of our schools, and all throughout. Lord, I pray that you would continue to keep our students safe. I pray whether they're learning from home or whether they're present. I pray for our teachers, those who even come fearfully at times, Lord. I thank you for their dedication. Lord, we are a better community because of their daily service to our children, to our community. Lord, I pray that for those within, specifically in roles like myself and positions within our faith community, that we would lead the people that you have placed around us to be peacemakers in our community, to serve, to support the principals, the APs, the support staff, the custodians, the teachers, and that because of all of us working together, that Cypress would be just a little bit better of a place because of our involvement here. Now, Lord, I pray that you would give wisdom that only comes from above to this board, to the various, again, the administration of the various schools. Lord, thank you for placing us in this community. Help us to be good stewards of it. And we thank you for this. We pray all of this in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Arch. Colors. Bolt. Reese and arms.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Port, arms. Right, face. Forward, arch.
You may be seated. Board member Gilbert Sarabia will read the district's vision and mission statement for the benefit of the audience.
Our vision at CFISD is formed from the acronym LEAD, to learn, empower, achieve, dream, lead. Our mission is to maximize every student's potential through rigorous and relevant learning experiences, preparing students to be the 21st century global leaders.
Thank you, Mr. Sarabia. And before we go any further, I just wanted to share with everybody that about 10 days ago on October the 2nd and 3rd, TASA TASB had their annual conference, but they held it virtually. This was the first ever history-making virtual conference that we've ever had. Many great sessions and 2 awesome keynote speakers. Mr. Sean Acor led us off. He is author of The Big Potential and Happiness as an Advantage. He hails from Waco, Texas, and has studied how happiness affects production and success. To quote, happiness is derived from a Greek word but has a different definition and meaning than what we know of as happiness. It's not a state of mind, but happiness is the joy you feel moving toward your potential, what it means to live a human life well. Much research, TED Talks, he was in the top 25 of most popular, and founder of the Good Think and Positive Psychology. He suggested that in the middle of a crisis, find success, optimism, and that's a great place to start, but we must start together. Tonight we're going to give it a try. So at your desk, I've given you a piece of paper with your name on it. Sadly, I didn't have enough for everybody, but you all do this mentally, would you please? What I want you to do is I want you to write down 3 things that brought you joy in the past 24 hours. You got 2 minutes. Okay. We're going to start out here, and I want you to just share one of them with us. So I'm going to start with Linda Macias. Dr. Macias? Awesome. Karen?
Mine was, had to do with the Moore CPOC meeting that I participated in today, and listening to all the teachers and all that they're doing. It warmed my heart.
Thank you. Marnie?
Hi, mine was getting up early on Sunday morning before church, before anybody was up, and just being still and being quiet.
That is unusual. Thank you, Marnie. Teresa?
Mine was having the opportunity to spend yesterday with one of my best friends celebrating her birthday.
Thank you. Julie?
Mine was FaceTiming with my daughter, who's a freshman in college, while she was doing her laundry.
Dr. Ogletree?
Mine was a successful leadership retreat on Zoom Saturday.
Thank you. Mr. Ryan? Keep it clean.
I was going to say Bill O'Brien getting fired, but you want to keep it positive. So
Well, that's positive for some.
it is for me. No, we got to spend the weekend keeping our grandson for it. So that was awesome.
Dr. Henry?
Well, I can't see their faces, but I can see the smiles in the eyes of our students as they participated in band and cheerleading and football games and all of the things. So that warmed my heart.
Ms. Blacksher?
Spending time with my grandkids this weekend. My granddaughter spent the whole weekend with us. My grandson played football and just saw the other two grandkids, one's at college, talked to her, but just being with family.
Mr. Jackson?
Being thanked by a patron of the district, a complete stranger, while I was eating dinner, who also said a thank you to each of the board members up here as well.
Thank
Very
you.
nice.
Mr. Sarabia?
Mine was interacting, refereeing 16 volleyball games, coaching 5 baseball games, and having a 4-hour practice today, interacting with what I thought would not be taking place at this time a couple of months ago. So much relieved.
Mr. Sarabia, you clean up well after all that.
Thank
Mr. Weckerly?
Spend time with my daughter going to her soccer game.
Thank you. Roy?
Actually, FaceTiming with my 3-month-old grandson who lives in Santa Barbara, California.
Thank you. Roy Garcia?
Traveled to Dallas this past weekend, spent time with my 18-month-old grandson and 2-week-old granddaughter. And of course, their parents.
Deborah?
I got to visit with my dear sweet mom this weekend, and we had a family walk-a-thon in the park, so family time was wonderful.
Thank you. And Holly, I just gave one to Holly too.
Watching my much anticipated movie Mulan.
Thank you.
So good.
And mine was hearing all these positive statements from everybody that I hold so dear and have so much respect for. And it indicates to us that the lead, which is learn, empower, achieve, and dream, has to start at the top, and everybody has to feel it all the way down. Although we won't be doing this as every meeting, I just wanted to try it out. Thank y'all for sharing it with me. The superintendent will make remarks and announcements, including the honors and achievements earned by staff and students in recent weeks. Dr. Henry?
Thank you, Mr. President, trustees. Just one thing that we left out on Thursday, and certainly don't want to leave anyone out, when we were celebrating our campuses and departments that have achieved the No Place for Hate designation, we left out Club Rewind. So we wanted to celebrate Club Rewind because they've also been honored by No Place for Hate for their work. The Leonard Brodigan Center was chosen by the Texas Association of School Administrators and Texas Association of School Boards to be included in the 2020-2021 exhibit of school architecture. Exhibit selections are awarded Star of Distinction Awards for excellent projects in one or more of the following 6 areas: design, value, sustainability, community planning, and school transformation. The Brodigan Center earned a Star of Distinction in both planning and school transformation. And if you remember what the old Matskey Elementary School looked like before, you would know that was well earned. Originally, this was the site of Matskey Elementary School. The rebranded special program facility opened in 2019 as the Brodigan Center. Designed by PBK Architects, the center extends the life of a building that first opened in 1965. I'm also proud to announce that we have a new principal, and so I will turn it over to Roy Garcia to begin the introduction.
Thank you, Dr. Henry. President Covey and Board of Trustees, last month we introduced Sarah Hardy as our new Assistant Superintendent for Secondary School Leadership, and this created a vacancy at Cypress Lakes High School. And tonight we are excited to announce their new principal, Mrs. Lynette Bellamy. I will provide a brief overview of Lynette's professional experience and then give her an opportunity to address the board and introduce her family members that she has in the audience with us this evening. This is Lynette's 26th year in the education profession. She was an English teacher in Pasadena ISD and at Katy High School before joining Cypress-Fairbanks ISD. She was a counselor at Thornton Middle School, Cy-Fair High School, and Truett Middle School. She also served as the Director of Instruction at Truett Middle School and Cypress Ranch High School. And she has been the principal at Lyby Middle School since 2016. Lynette participated in the Rice Educational Entrepreneurship Program and the statewide Principals Institute, and she is currently working on her Doctorate of Education at the University of Houston. Lynette and her husband Ed have 2 sons, Brett and Blake. Both of them have attended all CFISD schools and graduated from Cypress Ranch High School. Brett graduated in May from the University of North Texas, and Blake is a junior at Sam Houston State. When Lynette has a little time just for her, she enjoys reading, running, yoga, and traveling. Please join me in congratulating Lynette Bellamy.
First of all, a big thank you to Mr. Garcia and Dr. Henry and the entire board. I just want to start by saying I am so honored to be chosen to serve the students and the staff and the community of Cy Lakes. They have all welcomed me with open arms, and it's been an exciting experience, and I'm loving it. My boys are here. Both of them traveled into town to be here with me. Brett lives and works in Denton, and Blake drove from Huntsville today, so I'm excited to have them here with me. And I also want to send a shout out to my extended family who's not here. That includes my people from Cy Lakes who wanted to be here tonight, but they're observing social distancing, so they're watching online. Also my Lyby family and my ranch family who have all been so supportive as I've gone through this adventure. My family too has always supported me in every new adventure that I take on, so thank you. And I myself am a first-gen college student, and so I believe strongly in the power of education and what we're able to do for our students through education every single day. So I'm so excited for this opportunity. I've been in the district for 21 years, and lots of people in this room have helped me along the way and given me opportunities. So I'm just so excited to offer that to other people, to my students and my staff at Lakes. So thank you.
You got board? That's it, okay. We'll now proceed to public comments portion. Patrons who have duly registered for policy BED local may address the board and make public comments on agenda item during or before the board's consideration of the item. The board may allow public comment on agenda items at all meetings. The board will continue with the remaining agenda after the registered patrons have had a continued opportunity to speak. We have nobody doing it tonight, so we're going to take a little short break to issue congratulations, and 5 minutes, guys, 5 minutes. Okay, we will now proceed with the board comments portion of the agenda. Any board member may make a comment during this portion of the agenda without prior posting being required. Comment items may not pertain to the character of any students, staff, or board member and may not be discussed or deliberated upon at this meeting. So I'm going to start with Ms. Heineman. Ms. Heineman? Oh, I'm sorry, you're not ready?
No, I can be ready.
Okay.
I know, usually I have it all typed out and bound and all that, but today I'm just gonna wing it.
You're freewheeling it
I'm
today.
free, yes.
Okay.
Ooh, that didn't sound good, but
Oh,
that's okay. So I wanted to share, and actually it was one of the things I wrote down on what brought me joy in the last few days was spending time with, I had many more opportunities to spend time with students and teachers over the last week or so, just through various opportunities, football games. I actually got to visit with the girl, a student that I mentor, that I have not seen since March. And I have worried and cried and prayed over that girl, and I was so happy to finally get to see her face to face and to know she was doing well, and the teachers are taking great care of her, and so that was just a delight. We've missed those connections. Students have missed those connections with each other and with teachers and mentors and with mentees, so that was definitely a highlight. I also got to visit with a teacher, one of our NAC teachers, New Arrival Center teachers. She was working the Health Expo at the Berry Center, and I was working the Health Expo at the Berry Center, and we just overlapped and just got to hear more about her experiences this year and the challenges of teaching our new arrival students who are immigrants to the United States, who have been here for 6 months or so or less, and trying to help those students, some in the classroom and some online, and the challenges associated with that. At football games, I sit with parents and with teachers and hear about what works well, what's not working. We know that there's still work to be done to try to help our teachers with this tremendous load that they are carrying. With the struggles of teaching remote, virtual students, online students, as well as students in their classroom are indeed very great. And so I'm encouraging everyone involved to, at campus leadership and district leadership, to continue to seek out ways that we can help our teachers. The other thing I just want to mention was 2 more things. Please continue to follow the health and safety protocols. Parents, students at athletic events and art events, it's really important that we continue to follow those protocols so that we can continue to have these events that bring so much enrichment and joy to our students. And also encourage everyone to vote. Early voting begins tomorrow. Thank you.
thank you. Dr. Ogletree?
Thank you. Yes, early voting does start tomorrow, and I want to encourage all of our Cyfair community to exercise your right to vote. And when you exercise your right to vote, please don't vote against your interests. We do have a good school district here. We are proponents of public education, and you have to be careful with candidates who support charters and who are endorsed by charter programs. Don't vote against your interests. And I thank God for the privilege of serving in a district that believes that we can reach and teach every student, and that our motto is opportunity for all. And you will not find that in charter schools. And our teachers, as Julia said, are really struggling. Please keep them in prayers. They are trying to live up to that motto with this situation that we have here with in-class instruction as well as virtual instruction. It is tough, but with community support and with prayers and with, I believe, our administration monitoring the situation and making adjustments when possible, we will get through this. That's all I'll say today.
Thank you, Dr. O. Mr. Ryan? Nothing? Ms. Blackshear?
Yes, I'd just like to, like Julie, I have talked to a number of teachers, nurses, parents, and students since the last board meeting, and I continue to share the concerns of our teachers and our staff, our parents, about the current situation. I know it's not easy. Unfortunately, I know there's not easy answers either. I will say I do believe that our administration is doing the very best they can with the situation at hand. I wish there was more that we could do, but I believe we are doing our best to try to work through the issues that do exist. And believe me, I do acknowledge that there are issues that exist. If there are solutions, I believe this school district will find them. Thank you.
Mr. Jackson?
The words of Don McLean came to me this past weekend when I stole away and caught part of one of our football games. 2020 was the year when the music almost stopped. But because of you and your colleagues, the marching band took the field. Because of you, flautists play their delicate legato notes. The horns are properly boisterous. French and other foreign languages are spoken, math is learned, science experiment work or go awry, and so very much more. Because of you, our children have transportation and food, and because of you, they can learn at home or here on the various campuses, blanketed in different layers of safety. And because of you, our students have a sense of normalcy, if only for a little bit of each day. So to the staff on campus, the campus leadership, and the leadership here at Central Admin, I tip my hat to you for your courageous attitude. My dad taught me that courage was facing concerns and fears. And in fact, each of our employees are doing exactly that, not just for our students, but also for our community as well. On a different note, I'm back on the speaking circuit. I've made 4 presentations, and this week I'll make 3 more. 2 were completely by Zoom, 1 was in person, and 1 was in person in Zoom. And for 30 minutes, while I tried to give a presentation in person and on Zoom, I had a little taste of what our teachers have been telling me is the joy of teaching the hybrid model. I can say I failed miserably. I'm glad our teachers do a much better job than I did. But I understand that it is, in fact, a struggle. And I want to say thank you again to the leadership for making those accommodations. Not nearly enough could we make, but those accommodations that you did make, I know are very much appreciated, and they resonate throughout the entire district. So thank you.
Ms. Arabia?
I too want to echo the voting. It's very important to vote. Please get out there early. The weather's fantastic, and let's hope it stays that way. Nice and safe voting. It's going on 1 year and 3 days here. It's going to be 1 year and 3 days that I had to make the toughest decision I ever had to do. And coming up on my mom's 1 year anniversary of her passing, where I had to enact her DNR wishes and stuff, and that's not something I wish on anybody. And so she gives me strength, and I know that Mom would always look at me and just tell me like this if needed be, but to be strong and be strong. And that's where we are. And by the example of the administration, you guys are working very hard. And I echo Tom's sentiments, though, going out there and seeing the the lives that y'all affect and in a positive way. No, we're not perfect, but we do try extremely hard. Getting out there and seeing people adapt to what needs to be done to curb this terrible COVID that we're going through right now is extremely heartening, and it makes you look towards a positive manner and stuff. We want to keep trending better, and seeing all the everything on social media from the kids and the parents, and they're going to games and seeing all the construction around the district, and it brings a light that I was not sure was going to be there in about 3 months ago and stuff. So it's very promising, and kudos to everybody who's involved here, and kudos to everybody coming in and communicating your concerns and stuff. Those are welcome. We may not seem like we're welcoming their comments, but we need to hear that, and I commend you guys on coming up here and letting us know, because there is action always being taken on comments. Comments do not go by the naysay and just let it go. So anyways, going back and seeing the smiles of everybody and hearing the stories from Julie and everybody else, and Ryan and everybody getting around the district, our community is vibrant. We're moving around, and it was just hard to imagine that 3 months ago. Thank you, everybody here.
Thank you, Mr. Arabia. Just very shortly, it's awesome to hear the positivity that we hear. And I know that some of you may think that we don't listen, but we do. And sometimes we're listening in the grocery store, and sometimes we're standing in line at Sonic trying to get a drink, and somebody mentions it to us. So it's always good to hear. And I always ask the students at HEB how things are going in school. And some of them are doing virtual, and some of them are not. But they seem to be as positive as you possibly can be. And I appreciate that. I love the idea that we have this optimistic feeling that we're going to get through this together, and we will get through it together. And I definitely appreciate the superintendent and the A-team and everybody out there that's working so hard. Y'all are wonderful. Thank you very much. We will now proceed. Oh, one more thing. Whoever did this for our resolution, thank y'all very much. They gave each one of the board members one. This is very, very thoughtful, and we're extremely proud of that. Citizen participation. Those who are duly registered for policy BED local may address the board regarding matters of concern, interest to the district, other than the character of any student, staff, or board member. The board may not act upon any matter that is not listed under the action item portion of the agenda. I will also tell you that we're using both podiums, so if you come up to one, the next person that follows should go to the opposite podium. And we have our podium cleaner over here that works diligently on keeping us sanitized. You will be given 2 minutes. At 30 seconds before, the yellow light will come on. And at the end of the 2 minutes, we ask you to sum up. So first up is Diana Alexander.
Hello, thank you. On September 14th, at the last board meeting, teachers and community members reached out to this board for help. Classroom staff are being crushed under hours and hours of work, trying to manage a hybrid model of instruction. You told them then to be patient, wait, and thank them. They still wait. Teachers had valid concerns about their health as they cope with extreme fatigue for worry and overwork. You told them then to be patient, wait, and thank them. They still wait. Staff members worry about COVID cases at their campuses and confusing poor communication. Will you tell them then to be patient? Are you hearing these concerns and willing to actually do something? Yes, an email of appreciation is well and good, but meaningless when you have real problems here. How many quality, hardworking people have to resign before you understand? This is not something you can wish away. Even now, as some of this body sit here unmasked, cases are spreading in this district. Be humble and admit you can do better. Ask for real input from staff. Heal the mistrust now, and you may have a chance in avoiding an exodus. The stress and workload is unsustainable, and the buck stops with you to make changes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and sadly, I don't think the light was working, but you did great. Thank you very much, Diana. Gabrielle Culp. Gabriella, excuse me. I didn't see the A, my fault.
That's okay. So, hello everybody. You know me because I've been here before. But today I wanted to just give you a glimpse of my experience as a classroom teacher. You mentioned going to the grocery store. Lucky you. I didn't get to go grocery shopping last week. Because guess what? It's the end of the grading period. And Schoology crashed. And I had over 200 items that were ungraded. And parents that were mad because my child has these in the book. I have 2 preps. One of them is a college class. I'm a team of 1. Guess how many hours? Guess how many hours a week I work? Over 100. Why? Because I can't go in front of my patients, my students, and wiggle it. It's a matter of pride for me as their teacher. They look up to me. I have to be their role model. If I go there and I say, oh yeah, here's the worksheet, go ahead and do whatever, that's not gonna fall. That's not gonna fly. And you were asking us why, something that brought joy in the last 24 hours? Well, here's my joy. 3 of the students at Cy Ranch that are National Honor Merit semifinalists, they are my former students. I wrote letters of recommendation for every single one of them. Some of them were my students twice. That's what makes me go back every morning there. I risk my life every day. For what? For my students, because that's what's important. But what happened? Somebody in my portable tested positive. Do you think that anybody came and said, hey, somebody was positive in this portable, take extra precautions? No, nobody did. That's lack of human decency.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Your time's up. Appreciate it. We need to move on. Elisa Trevino.
I'm a teacher who had to resign after nearly 15 years due to health concerns and lack of proper safety protocol. I'm also a parent of 2 children in this district. I was also on the reopening committee. I saw firsthand the complete disregard for teacher safety. The priority has always been to give kids their normal school lives back. I have offered numerous suggestions during the committee meetings that were completely disregarded. In fact, I never saw an actual decision being made during the meetings. The committee was just an opportunity for various administrators to provide updates to their relative departments. I brought up numerous concerns about the lack of proper safety protocol. After realizing the fact that having a teacher on the committee was just a way to save face, I notified the committee that I would no longer be returning. Numerous campuses are allowing parents to voluntarily isolate their children for 10 days in the event of any sickness so they wouldn't have to go get tested for COVID. We have teachers with cancer who are pregnant and who have serious underlying health issues not being told that a COVID-positive student was even in their class. I knew that teachers would not be able to balance virtual and face-to-face students at the same time. I expressed that concern to the committee, and now that concern was disregarded. Now we see teachers and students struggling. At the last board meeting, you all told teachers to be patient. It's been a month, and I asked, what solutions have you come up with? A new teacher who I helped hire, who's only 21 years old, had to go to the ER due to an ulcer from stress. There's been no sign of relief. What is it going to take for you all to listen? I receive messages from teachers daily crying out for help due to being overworked and feeling unsafe. Do you think I want my children in that environment? Absolutely not. I feel a huge amount of guilt for even having my kids remote because I know how much work it is for their teachers. And I worry that this is going to lead into a max exodus of teachers leaving during the school year or at the end of the year, because we as teachers have seen exactly where we stand with the administrators.
Thank you very much. John Rosenthal?
Thank you, trustees and Superintendent Henry, for hearing me out tonight. And of course, many thanks to the Cy-Fair community for showing up and advocating. For those who don't know me, I'm John Rosenthal, the Texas State Representative for House District 135. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade. I worked in oil and gas for 25 years before running for office in 2018. My daddy was a lifelong educator, a math teacher. Both of his parents were also lifelong educators. I grew up believing in the importance of public education, and my primary motivation to run for office was to increase funding and also to overhaul the whole system of standardized testing that we do in Texas. So I am a relentless advocate for public education, and that is why in this election cycle, I'm the only candidate for District 135 that's endorsed by the American Federation of Teachers. I'm the only candidate that's also endorsed by Texas State Teachers Association. And I take no support from pro-charter organizations. I do not seek their endorsements. I am unapologetically all in for public education. I support you and your district. Public education is a nonpartisan issue. It should be the first priority of state government. I hate that the Texas Education Agency has put our ISDs in such a tough spot with the pandemic right now. Hate it. And I know our school board is doing their best to work within those constraints. So I will advocate for keeping the dual path. We have a special needs child in our house, and so I get to see firsthand the amazing work that that teacher does to maintain the classroom and the remote instruction. It is simply amazing. Finally, I'll just say early voting starts tomorrow. You can all access the information on all the voting stuff through my website, johnrosenthaltx.com. Thank you all. God bless you all. I'm John Rosenthal. Thanks again.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal. Mariah Najmundin.
Good evening. My name is Mariah Najmundin, and I'm a teacher and taxpayer here in the district. As we end the first grading period, I want to share an experience from last week. On Thursday, a day that I was swamped with grading and lesson planning and working through my own lunch, I spoke with a parent of a virtual student who's failing my class. Let's call him Michael. I taught Michael last year in Spanish 1. He is an AB honor roll student, all-star basketball player, A-team football. He has a 46 in science, y'all, because he doesn't understand Schoology. His mom and I literally cried on the phone together because despite access to technology and that both of his parents are at home, he doesn't understand Schoology. He felt like he had no choice but return to in-person learning on Monday because he doesn't want to be kicked out of K-level. And I bet every single teacher here and every single teacher at home can think of 10 Michaels who has so much potential but is being systematically oppressed by our hybrid learning model. The achievement gap in Cy-Fair has never been greater. I would also bet my next 5 paychecks, that the data from our last progress report card run has significantly more failures in the first grading period of last year. And that number of failing students is disproportionately higher for our ELL students, for economically disadvantaged students, for SPED students, 504 students, and students of color. That's a lot of students, y'all. And I believe this is a direct result of an unsustainable system that is both burdensome on students and teachers. So my ask for the board tonight is a follow-up on an email that I sent last week. Come to my classroom. Spend a day at Row next week or tomorrow, whatever day works with you. And I'm not talking about the time that I spend in front of students. Get there at 6 o'clock and leave at 6 o'clock. I average 14 hours a day at school. And while I'm here advocating for teachers tonight, I'm also advocating for Michael and all of the students like Michael. This is unsustainable, and it's really hard, and it is not in the best interest of staff, and it's not in the best interest of students.
Thank you. Natalie Hurtado.
Good evening, distinguished trustees and Superintendent Dr. Mark Henry. My name is Natalie Hurtado, and I am the mother of a Cy Creek Jr. and 2 future Jaeger girls. I happen to also be running for state representative for House District 126. I am here tonight to simply let you know that you have a friend in public education. Having been a product of public schools and supporting a platform that seeks to make sure our public school teachers, bus drivers, administrators, and custodians are all being heard loud and clear. I'm also proud to be endorsed by Texas AFT, and I'm here tonight in solidarity. Please know, win or lose come November, it is my greatest honor to be part of the Cy-Fair family, and God willing, I hope to push forward legislation that does not hurt public education, but instead seeks to fund it adequately and equitably. I promise to seek a moratorium on additional charter schools and ensure that public education is not the first thing on the chopping block when we face our budget shortfall. It is my understanding that this month is also Principal Appreciation Month, so I'd like to give a shout out to Principal Vicki Snokus. I'd also like to thank the following teachers: Ms. Roscoe, Ms. Cohen, Ms. Newman, Ms. Sadler, Ms. McLean, Ms. Rhodes, Mr. Heidman, and Mr. Wood, all which have been teaching my daughter virtually while also teaching my daughter's friends in class. I admire all y'all's hard work and dedication for our students, and thank you dearly. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Nikki Cowart.
My name is Nikki Cowart, and I'm a leader with the American Federation of Teachers. As I announced on a call with the Metropolitan Organization last night, we have over 100 other AFT leaders already postcard writing, phone banking, text messaging our members and other union households, and we are committed to delivering at least 6,000 souls to the polls. Early voting does begin tomorrow, and we agree with what was said at Thursday night's work session. This is not a time for teachers or any of us to be silent. Did you know that you're legally allowed to carry in paper notes to the polls, but no electronic notes such as your cell phone or iPad? Of course, don't make notes at school or type your list to print at school. This was also reminded via post on Texans for Public Ed. If you need help finding public ed friendly candidates, there are lots of people happy to help, including some of the candidates here tonight that are with us. Of course, our union, the AFT, we are happy to help whether you are a union member or not. You see, AFT really does speak for me. AFT really does speak for all educators in this regard. We started delivering our Cy-Fair AFT Vote Safe kits today. These kits include a mask, gloves, hand sanitizer, and a legal cheat sheet that is teacher approved. You can count on Cy-Fair AFT for help, support, and resources needed, whether it be at work or at the polls. I completely understand the fatigue that most of us are feeling right now, but please make your voice heard and send public school-friendly lawmakers to Austin.
Thank you, Nikki. The public hearing portion of the agenda was presented at the board work session on Thursday, October the 8th, 2020. The board will now proceed with item 8A of the reports portion of the agenda. 8A, in accordance with the Texas Education Code, the State Board of Education regulations, the president of the CFISD board shall announce the name of each board member who has completed, exceeded, or who is deficient in continuing education required under state law. Just to let you know that due to COVID-19 pandemic, the State Board of Education has waived the board training requirements for all districts until January the 31st, 2021. However, I am happy to report that board members Don Ryan, Debbie Blackshear, Julie Heineman, Tom Jackson, Dr. John Ogletree, Gilbert Sarabia, and myself, Bob Covey, have remained diligent in our continuing board education and have all exceeded our required training hours and continue to do so. The board will now proceed with the consensus action items portion of the agenda.
Mr. President, may I ask you a question before we do that, sir?
Sure.
So we reported the education, but as part of what you see on the plaque over here, we also all committed to undertaking continuing education in the area of understanding better racial equity. And that is not part of the report that you just mentioned. Since I'm the one who pushed for that, I would say that I made certain that I went ahead and attended some of the seminars that TASA TASB put on. But can we have a reporting of that at some point in time in the future?
A reporting of the classes that we've taken that would satisfy that? Is that what you're asking?
Right, or merely whether we have satisfied the requirement and the pledge that we included when we signed the document.
Sure. I don't have a problem with that. Does anyone else? No?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. And there are a number of sessions that are offered through TASA TASB that address that. The board will now proceed with the consensus action items portion of the agenda. 9A, the board consider approving the minutes of September 14th, 2020 regular board meeting. The following non-consensus action items were moved to consensus during the board work session on Thursday, October the 8th, 2020. 10A, the board will consider awarding bids and contracts and are authorizing purchase orders as recommended in the posted agenda items. 10A1, desk and tabletop protective dividers. 10A2, Zone R annual service agreement. 10B, the board will consider approving the continuation education workforce agreement between Cypress-Fairbanks ISD and Lone Star College. 10C, the board will consider approving and submitting to the Commissioner of Education a request for maximum class size waiver. Again, item 10D, level 4 appeal that was to be considered in a closed session at the board work session on Thursday, October the 8th, 2020 was not held due to the absence of the complainant. If any board member wishes to remove one or more items for further discussion, please do so at this time. If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the consensus items as recommended or amended. Do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we approve the consent agenda as recommended and or amended.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. O. Before we vote, is there any questions or concerns about any of the items?
Yes, Mr. Covey.
Yes, sir, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, sir. We have on the agenda acquiring more plastic shields. A little background, when Harold Rowe and I were walking together through the school that bears his name, we chatted about one of his projects, and one of his projects was the Light Scribe. He did the investigation and proposed to the board that we would acquire these. For the viewing audience, the Light Scribe approach is a voice magnification system with speakers, and the speakers are actually primarily situated in the ceilings. I've used these both in large group settings but also in classrooms. So the question I have and I have a number of these questions. First, since we're adding plastic shields, is the system still effective for both our teachers but also our students, whether our students are on campus or at home? Secondly, do we have enough for all the classrooms or not? I know in years past, sometimes when I've gone to give a presentation, we've had to borrow one from a different classroom. And then third, for the plastic shields, this is a layer. Do we have any, and this would probably go back to you, Teresa. I'm a believer in layers of safety, whether it's physical safety or viral safety, but I'd like to know if this is showing, at least on an anecdotal basis, that it is in fact working. But I guess you would take the first part of these, Linda.
As you mentioned, Mr. Jackson, the speaker system is up in the ceiling. So yes, it is it suffices the sound for all students. I will share with you that at the very beginning of the year, we had some issues with sound, but it wasn't because of the system. It was because a laptop, the speaker in the laptop wasn't connecting to it. We've since ordered and have in the classroom some splitters, and that's allowing the computer speaker to connect to the light speed. So yes, everyone should be able to hear as long as the teachers are wearing their lanyard with their speaker.
And that splitter, and I'm familiar that when I do a presentation in a split capacity, but that splitter, if I understand what you're talking about, that's so that the students at home can hear what the teacher's saying. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is correct. Did I have another?
Thank you.
Mr. Jackson, to your other question regarding the layer of protection from the dust shield, as you mentioned, I don't really have any data specific to that to support that, but we had the same question about that before we brought this agenda item to you. As you know, we've signed an agreement with Memorial Hermann, a team of doctors that are providing advisory services to us related to our Lead Safely plan and answering any questions we may have. So when we started looking at the number of students that we anticipated would be returning to campus, especially the second marking period, we reached out to Memorial Hermann and we asked that very question. Is this a worthwhile investment for us, and will we be receiving, or will students have and teachers have that layer of protection that we're looking for? And they felt very strongly that that absolutely was a layer of protection. When you couple it with the mask and the shield, it definitely is helping us to minimize the number of students that may be identified as a close contact if we have a positive case. So it's definitely helped that. So we do feel that we are receiving the benefit of protection by investing in the dust shields.
Thank you.
Ms. Blacksher.
I just wanted to comment on what Linda was sharing with us about the splitters. I talked to a classroom teacher just last week who was telling me about what a difference the splitters have made and really are helping them in the classroom.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. And that's unanimous. Thank you. Superintendent's briefing will provide information regarding district events and items of community interest. Dr. Henry.
Thank you, Mr. Covey. Trustees, the 25th annual district-wide college night will be conducted on a virtual platform this year, Tuesday, October 13th, which is actually tomorrow, and Wednesday, October 14th. All high school students and their parents will have the opportunity to explore and connect with almost 400 different colleges and universities from around the world, providing information online. Students will have access to the online information 24/7 through November. More information, along with the link to register, can be found on the district website. Governor Greg Abbott has proclaimed October 14th, 2020 as Texas Education Human Resources Day, a day set aside to recognize and honor the important contributions made by school staff who work in human resources. Human resources staff work hard each day to make sure our schools are staffed with high-quality employees and that those employees have a good work environment. In continuing its free service to the CFISD community, the Nutrition Services Department launched Curbside Connect on September 8th, which provides breakfast and lunch at no cost to all children 18 and younger through December 31st. Curbside Connect grab-and-go meals are available to children not engaging in traditional face-to-face learning. For those utilizing on-campus learning, breakfast and lunch meals are also offered at no cost through December 31st. Meals through Curbside Connect are available from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. every Tuesday and Thursday, offered at 33 campuses across CFISD to provide greater coverage to the entire district population. Meal sites can be found on CFISD Connect on the district website. And just off script a little bit, you talking about the real heroes of this district, student nutrition. Thank you, student nutrition, from picking up in March, never complaining, and making sure that this community gets fed. You are the real heroes. During the week of October 26th through October 30th, 2020, Cypress-Fairbanks ISD will be participating in Red Ribbon Week activities. The National Family Partnership organized the first nationwide Red Ribbon campaign as a way for people and communities to unite and take a visible stand against drugs, using the red ribbons as a symbol of intolerance. Along with celebrating Red Ribbon Week, CFISD will participate in National Bullying Prevention Month, a nationwide campaign founded in 2006 by Pacers National Bullying Prevention Center. The campaign, the campaign is held during the month of October and unites communities around the world to educate and raise awareness of bullying prevention. We hope you will join us in supporting our students during Red Ribbon Week, as well as Bully Prevention Month. I want to remind employees, as it's been said earlier, and community members, that we will have the privilege to exercise one of the greatest rights, voting on November 3rd, 2020. Early voting dates start tomorrow, October 13th through October 30th, and just based on what I see and the number of new voters we have and the interest in this election, I would advise you to probably get there early. Election day, it might be very difficult to vote. And then I'd like to finish up, if I could. This is my 30th year to be a superintendent. And in the past 8 months, I'm not looking for any sympathy. The last 8 months has been the equivalent of being a superintendent for 10 years. It has not been easy for me. In fact, I had a call from a rookie superintendent. It was their first year last March, and they said, "Dr. Henry, you've been around for 3 decades. What do we do?" And I said, we're all on the same page here. If it's a hurricane, I can help you. If somebody doesn't make cheerleader, I can help you. But a pandemic, it's new to all of us. We haven't made all the right decisions as an administrative team, but the decisions that have been made in the best interest of CFISD, and we've done our best every day to make sure that all of our employees and all of our students are safe as possible while continuing to try to provide an education for our students. We haven't been perfect, but we're going to get better. I always hear this comment, "You're not listening to me." That's just not true. I listen to teachers all the time. I'm in constant communication with principals. I'm in constant communication with district level administrators, looking for ways. That's our goal every day. What can we do about attendance check? What can we do about the MERGE program to make it better? How can we get to a point where we just have teachers dedicated to virtual and teachers dedicated to in-person? We're working on that every day. When you say nothing has happened in a month, that's just not true. That's just not factual. A lot of things have happened. They may be minor, they may be administrative, but an effort is being made to relieve the burden on our teachers. We don't know exactly how to do that, but we're working at it. I can tell you, as we start the new grading period, we're going to do some things differently based on what we learned this first grading period. Is it going to be perfect the second grading period? No, it is not. I am fully aware of the high number of students that are failing. Unfortunately, that is not a Cy-Fair ISD problem. That's a state problem. That's a national problem. It's not always the teacher's fault. It's not always the technology. It's never the teacher's fault. It's not always the technology's fault. Sometimes just students are not engaged, and that's a very difficult way to learn. And I can tell you, at least me and Don Ryan could not learn that way, because I'm not even going to say we're too much alike, because I don't know who that reflects poorly on. But it's a very, very difficult way to learn. All I can say is community, as teachers, we're trying. We've involved teachers in decision-making. We've involved principals in decision-making. We've involved parents in decision-making. When you have 7,000 teachers, you can't have a group of 7,000 teachers involved, but you can have representatives from that group. I don't know of anyone over 30 years, and I think most of our teacher groups in here will agree, at least up until the last 8 months, anybody that's listened more and tried to have a great relationship with not only our teachers, but every employee in this district. I've never thought being superintendent was better than being any other position in this district. I'm just one of the member of the team. And I can assure you that moving forward from today, I'm going to double my efforts and try even harder. Yes, I'm working 100, 120-hour weeks just like the rest of you. But, guys, I said it earlier when Bob had us go through our little exercise. I guess it was about 3 weeks ago, and I walked out onto the CFFCU field. And no, I couldn't see the students' faces because they were covered by a mask, but I could see the joy in their eyes. Guys, they need us. They don't just need us online, they really need us in person. The most influential people on children are, number one, parents, number two, clergy, and number three, teachers and school personnel. They need us. Let's don't give up on them. We'll continue to give our best effort. If you have some suggestions, send them to me. The principals that are here today can tell you that I've told them whatever you need. This board heard me say this. Whatever you need, whatever it costs, we will get it for you. I promise. Thank you, Mr. President.
And to that note, and we are very supportive of our superintendent, we are now adjourned.
No, wait, we got an addendum. We
do?
have an addendum.
We do?
Yeah, we do. If you just scroll down.
Well, it's not on my copy.
There's an addendum posted, and it is, and I can just tell you it's posted. So it is so that we have asked the board to waive our vacation policy because you may remember that because it's DED. And the reason is that so many of our, primarily talking with Mr. Powell, Mr. Morgan, our operations folks, worked continuously this summer. There are year-round employees, and so they only have until December to use their vacation time. But because we had so many protocols and things going on this summer, most of them were unable to, use their, week or 2 weeks. And so we would like the board to extend that time deadline to use that leave from December until July 31st. So to give them, and so that would of course take board action because it's a local policy and you're the ones that can waive that.
Okay, so can I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the board approve a waiver of the provision on DED local compensation and benefits, vacations, and holidays necessary for the district to allow for the extension of the use of earned vacation days.
I second.
Thank y'all. Any questions or concerns?
Yes, sir. Is July really long enough? Because I don't see a lot of things changing between now and July.
I would say if the board would approve it where it is, we may come back to you in March and ask you to extend it a little further. Is that fair enough?
Mm-hmm. So that's fair to me. We just need to remain sensitive because I think I'm fairly confident additional time will be needed, but as long as it's on somebody's calendar that we look at it again, I can vote in favor of this.
Okay,
Yeah, so the idea with, I'm so sorry, Mr. Covey, the idea with the end of July was that, that hopefully things next summer, they would, be able to take it in the spring, and then they'll obviously get new, vacation time. And so, but if it looks like we're gonna be calling on all those folks to, give us their whole summers again, then we may ask you to extend it. But we were looking at 6 months initially.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Ryan, second by Ms. Blackshear. All in favor, raise your right hand, and that's unanimous. Now, we are over. No, there's not.